tonight.
The challenges here is that Leo doesn't have time for the years that such approval takes.
One family's race against time to secure medication for their son's rare neurological condition. Also tonight, making space.
If you can't just take away people's tents, I think they're going to walk around all day and do what?
A push by advocates to set up a temporary space for homeless encampments. What it might look like. Plus, a sock to the gut.
The first thing I thought was, oh no, I'm letting these people down now. Like I don't have them to donate.
What comes next for a Winnipeg woman whose large donation to a local sock drive was stolen from her vehicle?
CTV News. Live from downtown Winnipeg with Marilee Caruso.
Good evening. Thanks for joining us. Some relief tonight for a Steinbach family after months of seeking a provincial approval for a medication that could improve the quality of care for their dying son. 5-year-old Leo DuPont was diagnosed in June with Niemann-Pick disease type C, a rare genetic disorder that causes neurological damage over time. CTV's Joseph Bernacki joins us now live with the details. Joseph, you visited with the family today. How have they been managing their son's care?
Marilee, it's been an uphill battle, but some good news came to the family shortly after our interview. The Minister of Health called Leo's mom with news that could help prolong his life.
Having a child that is ill is a nightmare, right, for any parent. Having a child that's terminally ill is another level.
The last 4 months have been a battle for Kayla Krentz DuPont.
This has become my full-time job, trying to secure care for my child, trying to secure medication for my child.
Krentz DuPont's 5-year-old son Leo was diagnosed in June with Niemann-Pick type C. It's a rare genetic disorder that leads to progressive neurological damage over time, affecting his ability to walk, speak, and use of his arms and legs.
Leo's body does not metabolize the same way another person's body does, and it's the storage of lipids in his liver and eventually brain that have these neurological effects.
After weeks of sending emails to the province asking for coverage of the expensive medication, Minister of Health, Seniors and Long-Term Care Uzoma Asagwara contacted the family today. Asagwara said the drug Miglustat will be granted exceptional drug status by the province. The family says this drug is the first step towards prolonging Leo's life.
I was able to call Kayla earlier today and share with her that I have approved the medication, and that our department will work with her and her family every step of the way to Leo being able to start the medication as soon as possible.
But Krentz DuPont says it's not over. The family is also seeking access for Miplyffa, another medication used in combination with Miglustat. The challenge? Miplyffa has not yet been approved for use by Health Canada. As he folds up Leo's laundry, Mario DuPont says the first medication can't come fast enough for his son.
We really want access to this medication so that Leo can live the best life that he can live while he's here with us.
Kayla Krentz DuPont says she was in shock this afternoon when she received the call, calling it an answer to many prayers. She's not sure when treatment can start for her son, but she's feeling hopeful.
Well, that is good news, Joseph. Did the minister have anything else to say in terms of other Manitoba families looking for this exceptional medicine not covered by the province?
Marilee, Minister Asagwara encouraged all Manitobans this afternoon to reach out to the office should they have concerns over receiving approval in the province.
All right, thanks for this, Joseph. Now to some breaking news from the Manitoba Legislative Assembly. The legislature has passed a bill to extend the amount of time highly intoxicated people can be detained. The bill allows authorities to detain people for up to 72 hours, an increase from the current 24 hours. The Tories tried unsuccessfully to amend the bill to require community consultation on proposed locations and to prevent them from being within 500 meters of schools. Premier Wab Kinew says the meth crisis needs immediate attention, and he has the support of first responders, some parents of addicts, and Winnipeg's mayor. Some critics have said the long detention would essentially criminalize addiction. A teen girl is dead and another is in custody tonight following a reported assault on a northern First Nation community. RCMP and paramedics were sent to a home in Opaskwayak Cree Nation near the Pas Saturday afternoon. There, they found the body of a 15-year-old girl. Then on Tuesday, Mounties arrested a 17-year-old girl from the community who's now charged with manslaughter. RCMP say the investigation is ongoing, but a spokesperson adds the alleged incident is not believed to be random and the two share a family connection. Investigators are not looking for any other suspects. Meantime, police here in Winnipeg are hoping you can help them find a vehicle tied to an ongoing shooting investigation. Police are looking for this red four-door 2019 Kia Sportage. It has a black decal running across the front and rear doors. This after a 28-year-old man allegedly shot his girlfriend early Sunday morning at a home on Wellington Crescent. Investigators believe the suspect then drove that vehicle east of the city and abandoned it near Deacon's Corner. They add it could have been driven down various back roads, so they are asking people in those areas to check security footage. You're told not to approach this vehicle if you do find it, as it may contain evidence. The suspect was previously arrested and charged with aggravated assault, while the victim sustained a life-altering injury but survived. None of the allegations have been tested in court. Reaction continues to pour in tonight following the Liberal government's first budget under Prime Minister Mark Carney, which was released yesterday. Let's bring in CTV's Taylor Brock now to help break it down further for us. So, Taylor, lots to get to. What are we hearing?
Well, we're hearing a lot of questions, Marilee. There's apprehension tonight from some First Nations organizations here in Manitoba. The Southern Chiefs Organization says while there are some promising funding announcements, they lack detail on how they'll be implemented. For example, the SCO says while the budget earmarks some $2.8 billion for housing in Indigenous communities, it says it's unclear how that money will actually make its way to the people who need it most. SCO leadership says this isn't the first time First Nations communities have been promised major government spending on housing, and yet people continue to live in inadequate, overcrowded homes. They're also concerned about First Nations health care, saying cuts to Health Canada and the Public Health Agency of Canada will only make it more challenging for their citizens to access care. Assembly of Manitoba Chiefs Grand Chief Kyra Wilson was more direct, saying the budget, quote, does not reflect the need of First Nations.
The numbers and the distinction for First Nations or the impact to First Nations is not clear in the budget, and so some of the budgetary items like for First Nations infrastructure is looped into provincial and territorial infrastructure budgets, and I believe that there needs to be a distinction there given that we have a treaty partnership with the Crown.
Meantime, political scientist Christopher Adams says while it's remarkable the deficit will nearly double to some $78 billion, he's largely unsurprised by the budget's heavy focus on infrastructure and defense spending. He says it reminds him of the kind of budget that would have been passed in the wake of the Second World War, when the country needed to take out huge amounts of debt to get the economy moving again. Now, in the present day, Adams says that can only be understood in the context of Donald Trump.
There is a need by Ottawa to put more money into incentives for businesses to get through this period of time. So it would be quite a different budget if we were not facing the threat of tariffs. This last election a few months ago, Mark Carney campaigned on dealing with Donald Trump, and he also campaigned very strongly, to use his words, build, baby, build. And so we did expect that there would be a lot of money on infrastructure.
Adams notes it's still an open question as to whether the budget will actually pass because the Liberals have a minority government.
All right, Taylor, thanks for this. Now, if you would like to learn more about the federal budget, we have plenty of analysis and reaction up on our website. Just head to ctvnewswinnipeg.ca. All right, let's bring in Colleen Brady now and get a first look at your Skywatch evening forecast. And I suggest you brace yourself because it was so nice out there today. You might be a little shocked by what Colleen is about to tell you. I know I was when she told me last hour.
Wow, what a setup. Yeah, well, folks, don't be fooled by these clear conditions across southern Manitoba tonight, because an Alberta clipper is forming. There's snow, there's rain, maybe even some freezing rain, all headed our way. I'll show you when it's expected to move across southern Manitoba coming up. But for now, just enjoy these clear conditions, and let's take a look through the Bathfitter Live Eye. Bathfitter, your bath and shower experts for more than 40 years. In Winnipeg right now, not too much cloud out there. It's 0, but with the wind chill. Yes, now we're talking about wind chill. It feels like -2. Light winds out of the north-northeast at 5 kilometers an hour. The pressure's rising, and the humidity right now, Marilee, is 73%.
Thanks, Colleen. One person is dead and another is in hospital tonight after a deadly crash last Thursday. RCMP say a vehicle traveling south on Highway 59 veered into the northbound lane, colliding with a semi-truck. The 76-year-old driver, a man from Grand Point, was pronounced dead at the scene. His passenger was transported to hospital by Stars Air ambulance with serious injuries. The semi-truck driver from La Broquerie was not injured. RCMP are investigating. A push is on for the city of Winnipeg to designate spaces for homeless encampments. This as camps are being banned near places like playgrounds, schools, and daycares. And as CTV's Jeff Keel shows you, those in favor of so-called sanctuary sites say they would be managed and provide a path to housing.
If a Winnipeg City Councillor gets her way, the city would have set locations for homeless encampments.
And the solution is there. We're seeing it happening.
A plan is making its way through City Hall to prohibit encampments near playgrounds, schools, daycares, and transit shelters. But some advocates say if people are removed from those spaces, there has to be an alternative place to go.
Otherwise, they're going to be in ATM vestibules. They're going to be in doorways, in businesses, in stairwells, parkades.
Councillor Cindy Gilroy wants the city to set up designated encampment sites that would offer supports and services like portable toilets, electricity, garbage collection, and snow removal. She says the camps would be temporary and a step towards getting people housed.
I want it managed by a community organization that can actually triage people into addiction supports, housing, or the shelter system.
Gilroy and St. Boniface Street Links founder Marion Willis visited Halifax, where they've had designated sites for camps for the last couple of years. Willis says Winnipeg can learn lessons from the Nova Scotia capital.
I think this is a very scary concept right now in the city. We've never done this before. We're by no means suggesting that we should build a tent city.
The Halifax sites have not been without issues. One was the scene of a shooting, another a fire, and a managed site would come with costs. At the Community Services Committee Tuesday, the chair questioned if the province is on board.
Because we can't fully fund all of this, right? There's only so much money that can go around the table.
We're a partner with the city, right? So we're going to continue to work collaboratively with them. The biggest barrier around encampments is housing. So we're building up our housing stock.
Jeff Keel, CTV News Winnipeg.
An act of goodwill thwarted by thieves. A community's month-long sock drive had a disappointing end after someone stole more than 100 pairs of socks meant to help people in need. But as CTV's Danton Unger reports, one volunteer is doing what she can to put her best foot forward.
First thing I thought of was like, my socks are gone.
Ashley Monroe was met with an unwelcome surprise when she opened up her car door in downtown Monday afternoon.
This was all that they left me, was 1 or 2 pairs.
Someone had smashed her window and made off with 164 pairs of socks.
It was heartbreaking.
The socks had been part of a month-long donation drive organized by the St. Laurent Métis Local, collected for people in need. Monroe says she had been on her way to deliver the load here in Winnipeg when all this happened.
After collecting for so long and seeing them gone, the first thing I thought was, oh no, I'm letting these people down now. I don't have them to donate.
It was all part of Main Street Project's Socktober campaign.
Every year aiming to collect socks to help us get through the winter months here at Main Street Project. Our goal this year was to collect about 30,000 pairs of socks.
Main Street Project's interim director of development, Cindy Titus, says so far more than 14,000 socks have been collected, with more coming in every day.
People experiencing homelessness are definitely at risk of feet-related health issues, particularly during the winter months when it's really cold and wet. They often don't have proper footwear, including socks, and so getting people a clean, dry pair of warm socks is really essential to keeping them healthy throughout the next few months.
As for the stolen socks, Monroe says she hasn't given up.
Because I'm replacing the socks, making sure we still have our 164 pairs.
But she still hopes the socks, wherever they are now, will end up on the feet of those in need.
I just hope that whoever took them is, handing them out to the people who need them. That's what they were for.
Danton Unger, CTV News, Winnipeg.
Main Street Project says even though Socktober is over, socks are still welcome, along with essentials for the winter months like warm jackets and mitts. More details can be found on Main Street Project's website. There is a new giant downtown tribute to Winnipeg's Stanley Cup winning hockey teams. And no, we are not talking about the Jets.
At the time, I was talking with John Jameson from the Manitoba Hockey Hall of Fame, and I said, this deserves a big wall.
This mural depicting the Winnipeg Victorias now graces the wall of a downtown building on Main Street near McDermott. Way back in 1896, the Victorias won their first Stanley Cup and won 2 more in 1901 and 1902. Winnipeg artist Jen Mosienko created the mural, and for the grandson of one of the players, it's a moving tribute.
My grandpa passed away before I ever had a chance to meet him, and but we got stories through my dad, we got stories through the media, so we knew about his accomplishments. In addition to hockey, he was a war hero, World War I. He was also a banker before he went off to the war.
The team's initial Cup victory celebration resulted in the first ever Stanley Cup parade, which took place through the streets of downtown Winnipeg. Tourists are spending record amounts of money here in Manitoba.
We all need travel.
Last year, visitors spent $1.89 billion in our province. Travel Manitoba says it's the 3rd year in a row tourism spending has set new records. In total, 10.6 million people visited our province in 2024. That's 200,000 more than the year prior. However, officials are warning these robust numbers may not hold in 2025 due to challenges such as the wildfires and growing economic uncertainty. It's a Remembrance Day history lesson you can't learn in a classroom. Hundreds of local grade 6 students visited the graves of fallen soldiers. 600 students were bused to the Fields of Honor at Transcona and Brookside cemeteries ahead of Remembrance Day. Each student placed a poppy on the grave of a veteran. The program, called No Stone Left Alone, started 11 years ago. It teaches youth the importance of Remembrance Day and participating in ceremonies.
Taking them out of the classroom, being here in the cemetery, right in front of the grave of which they're going to be honoring that soldier. Very powerful, and I think a remembrance for them. They can look back at that and say, I was there.
No Stone Left Alone events are taking place across the country. Still to come tonight, a federal conservative crosses the floor to Mark Carney's side of the House.
I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the leader of the opposition had been talking about. I'm on.
Coming up, more on what prompted the big moment and how the Liberals and Conservatives are responding.
We will never forget your bravery, your strength, your sacrifice.
The very best and bravest of our nation, these heroic souls stood on guard for freedom.
Join the CTV News team and me as Canada comes together to remember.
Remembrance Day 2025, Tuesday morning at 10 Eastern, 7 Pacific on CTV.
Taking a look at the markets tonight, crude oil is down 96 cents. The Canadian dollar slid a bit lower. Gold added $32. The TSX gained 325 points. The Dow Jones rose 225 points, while the Nasdaq is up 151 points. Shortly after yesterday's federal budget was delivered, a Nova Scotia MP defected from the Conservative caucus to join the Liberals. Chris Detremont says after serious consideration and thoughtful conversations, he came to a conclusion there is a better path forward for the country. CTV's Mike LeCouture reports.
A clearly content Chris D'Entremont welcomed by a lively Liberal caucus. The Nova Scotia MP says his decision to cross over came down to serving his constituents and issues with Pierre Poilievre.
Over the last number of months, I wasn't feeling that I was aligned with the ideals of what the Leader of the Opposition had been talking about.
I'm honored.
The newest Liberal accompanied the Prime Minister to his post-budget press conference, where Mark Carney had this message for all parliamentarians.
Wherever they're sitting in the House, this is a time where we need to act as a country, be as unified as possible.
D'Entremont's former caucus colleagues questioned his move, given his record.
6 months ago, he ran on an affordability agenda. He ran to lower deficits. He ran on a stronger economy, pro-growth agenda, and he's turned his back on that.
But the former Conservative says others in that caucus are also mulling over a move.
I would suggest that there probably are those that are in the same boat, but I will let them tell their stories if that time comes.
Attempting to quell recent rumors that she is crossing the floor, Conservative Dominique Vienne released a video reaffirming her commitment to the party. But if others do go, some pollsters predict problems for Pierre Poilievre.
It is a rare thing for a member of parliament to cross the floor, especially one in an environment as polarized as Canada is today, and I think that suggests it would be a signal that Mr. Poilievre has a real challenge in keeping the party together.
The Liberals wouldn't say if they're actively recruiting other MPs to join the government caucus, but when asked about it, Foreign Affairs Minister Anita Anand said, the more the merrier. Mike Lecouteur, CTV News, Ottawa.
South of the border, it was a big night for the Democrats. Democrat, socialist, and Muslim Zohran Mamdani was elected mayor of New York City, and Democratic governors won in Virginia and New Jersey. Rena Roy reports.
Zohran Mamdani ushering in a new era in the nation's largest city after being elected the first Muslim and South Asian mayor of New York. The 34-year-old self-proclaimed Democratic socialist winning the majority vote.
Donald Trump, since I know you're watching, I have 4 words for you. Turn the volume up.
Mamdani vowing to make the city more affordable, pledging free childcare for all, a rent freeze, and free buses.
I'm looking forward to showing the power of an example here in New York City, an example of what it means to not just diagnose the despair in working people's lives as the cost of living crisis, but to deliver on it. And that's the contrast between myself and President Trump.
2 Democratic women also taking home wins last night in Virginia and New Jersey's high-stakes gubernatorial races. Governor-elect of New Jersey, Mikey Sherrill, also focused on affordability.
I started the campaign like I always start campaigns, listening to thousands of New Jerseyans and what was on their minds, and it was affordability, it was housing, healthcare, utility costs.
In Virginia, Abigail Spanberger flipping control of the state and making history as the state's first female governor.
Virginians want a governor who will not only stand up for them, for our jobs, for our economy, but also lay out clear plans to really impact and address the issues that matter to them.
President Trump reacting to the results today during a breakfast with Senate Republicans.
If you read the pollsters, the shutdown was a big factor, negative for the Republicans. And that was a big factor. And they say that I wasn't on the ballot was the biggest factor.
And a big win for Democrats in California, too, where voters changed the state's congressional map, an attempt to pick up more seats for Democrats, countering Republican redistricting in states like Texas ahead of next year's midterm elections. Rena Roy, ABC News, New York.
A legal challenge against how Donald Trump imposes tariffs is before the Supreme Court. Some states and businesses are arguing Trump's citing a national emergency to impose tariffs on other countries goes beyond the powers of the president. Trump used the International Emergency Economic Powers Act of 1977 to impose tariffs on countries around the world, including Canada, Mexico, and China. Meanwhile, Canada's industry minister says Stellantis may be sued if there's no resolution over the company moving production from Brampton to the United States.
First and foremost, on Monday, I announced that we were starting the dispute resolution mechanism. I don't like the term, but that's the term that is written in the contract. So that's why I'm using that term. According to the contract, we have to do this for 30 days. And then afterwards, if we don't find any form of resolution, the government will sue Stellantis.
Melanie Joly has said the dispute resolution process is underpinned by government contracts with the automaker. She insists the company must be held accountable for breaking its promises. Stellantis decided last month to move production of its Jeep Compass to Illinois. A warning now, the video you were about to see may be upsetting. A UPS plane crashed in Kentucky last night, killing at least 11 people, including a child. The cargo plane's left wing caught fire and an engine fell off just before it crashed and exploded moments after takeoff. It created a massive fire that stretched almost a kilometer. First responders were still searching for more victims today. The National Transportation Safety Board is leading the investigation into the crash. There's been another deadly strike on a boat in the Eastern Pacific. U.S. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth confirmed there was a strike, saying the boat was carrying drugs. Hegseth said the attack killed 2 people, bringing the number of people killed in Donald Trump's campaign against drug smugglers to at least 66 in 16 strikes. A U.S. aircraft carrier is also heading to the region. At least 26 people are dead and dozens missing after a deadly typhoon hit the central part of the Philippines. Most of the people killed were killed by floodwaters. More than 350,000 people fled to higher ground before the typhoon made landfall. The storm is still carrying torrential rains and strong winds as it moves northwest. This is actually the 20th tropical cyclone to hit the country this year. Deadly bear attacks have been terrorizing people in northern Japan, and it's forced the country to deploy the military. At least 12 people have been killed and more than 100 injured so far. The attacks have been reported almost daily ahead of the hibernation season as the bears look for food in residential areas. The soldiers are setting box traps and assisting local hunters. Blue Jays starting pitcher Shane Bieber still has some unfinished business with the team, so he's chosen to stay with the club next year.
It's going to be hard to replicate what this group's brings to the table day in and day out. Extremely grateful to be a part of it.
That was a tearful Bieber after Toronto's Game 7 World Series loss over the weekend. Instead of testing free agency, the 30-year-old has opted to stay with the club for $16 million U.S. next season. He was acquired at the trade deadline and pitched well down the stretch, picking up 4 wins in 7 starts.
It really has been a mirror of the political and social change in Europe.
Still ahead, facing the music Eurovision style, how Canada hopes to take part in the International Song Contest.
And that Alberta Clipper heading our way now will be on its way out by Friday. In behind that system, a blast of cold air, and that means temperatures won't even get to freezing by the time we get to Friday. It will be sunnier, though, again. -3 is the high, -3 on Saturday under a mix of sun and clouds. Still below freezing on Sunday with a high of -1. +1 by Monday, up to 5 degrees on Tuesday under a mix of sun and cloud.
Have a news tip? When you see news happening, let CTV News Winnipeg know. Text your tips, pictures, and videos to 10400. That's 10400. Message and data rates may apply.
Yesterday's federal budget contained an unexpected cultural element. The federal government is working to get Canada a spot in the Eurovision Song Competition. CTV's Jean-Pierre Boschman explains.
A larger-than-life show of fireworks, glitter, and at times self-parody, the Eurovision Song Contest has also long been known as a vehicle for nation branding and cultural diplomacy.
It really has been a mirror of the political and social change in Europe, and that's why people love to watch it.
And so it just may be that through this contest, Canada at this moment wants to further ties with Europe. Eurovision was first held in 1956. Switzerland won then. It's now watched by hundreds of millions of viewers. And despite its name, broadcasters from non-European countries too, including Australia, have joined the chorus of participants. And while Canada has never joined in, some Canadians have. In 1988, Switzerland famously borrowed our Céline Dion. She won. Over the years, some critics have mocked the contest's campy style. Billed as non-political, some also say political friendships and rivalries behind the scenes impact results. A vote on whether to include Israel has created divisions. Eurovision's inclusion in this country's budget, with details and figures yet to be revealed, hit a sour note for some. A Conservative MP took to X, saying, "Can't afford groceries? Don't worry, the Liberal budget is exploring participation by CBC in Eurovision."
I don't know.
I have no idea.
Place swings to mind.
On Montreal streets, some singer suggestions and applause for the bid from American tourists.
Like Canada, 100%.
We have American Idol. It's kind of bad, but we're kind of bad, so it works. Like it fits what we're doing down there. So yeah, we don't deserve Eurovision.
And so it seems there's still quite a bit of exploring to do before Canada is in the spotlight at Eurovision. Geneviève Beauchemin, CTV News, Montreal.
CTV Skywatch weather brought to you by South Beach Casino and Resort. Visit southbeachcasino.ca.
Colleen Brady back now with an update on that clipper that's going to bring us a taste of winter.
It sure will. It's going to bring all kinds of precipitation in terms of precipitation types over the next several hours. But for now, not much to see here, folks. Pretty clear after a nice sunny day today. Don't worry, the sunshine returns on Friday, but so do colder temperatures, as I showed you with the future or the long-range forecast. I'll show you the future cast in just a moment. Let's head out to Alberta, shall we? That's where it's all getting going tonight with the formation of this Alberta clipper. You can see Edmonton up there right along that rain-snow line. All this precipitation is going to race across Saskatchewan over the coming hours overnight. Here's the future cast. Now, over the next few hours, you see both rain and snow crossing Saskatchewan. Now, by the time it gets to our doorstep, the future cast has it coming in around 9 o'clock tomorrow morning. However, don't be surprised if you are in the southwest, if it might get to you a little earlier. Principally, this will fall as rain for areas like Brandon, at least to start. A little further north, Dauphin, look for snow. Same thing for Swan River. Environment Canada forecasting that this main swath of snow stretching from about Grand Prairie in Alberta across Saskatchewan and into the Parkland region could bring anywhere from 5 to 10 centimeters of snow, likely not at that higher end. And also it is a little tough to measure because it will be wet snow with rain mixing in. So keep that in mind. As for Winnipeg, it looks like maybe late morning into around maybe the noon hour. That's that window where we could start to see the rain move in. But even later on in the afternoon, still mainly rain, but we are going to start to see a flip over to rain and snow here in Winnipeg. Areas a little further south, closer to the international border, it'll take a little longer. Northwestern Ontario, look for rain and snow to arrive in your neck of the woods by late tomorrow afternoon. As the temperature cools and the sun sets, we'll see that outright flip over to snow across the area. Meanwhile, in the north, not much happening there. It will be pretty clear throughout the day for most areas, with the exception of Churchill in particular. I'll show you that in just a moment. By Friday morning, though, a lot of this sort of breaks down and slumps out of the area as that clipper moves on by. And as I mentioned, by their nature, clippers zip along pretty quickly. So this system is going to move along very fast. But as I mentioned, the sun returns Friday, but so do temperatures below freezing. We'll have that injection of cooler air from the north in behind the system, keeping us sub-zero for daytime highs. Speaking of which, we head down below freezing tonight, down to -4. Fairly clear tonight. It's overnight. The clouds build up. For the commute for Winnipeg and the Red River Valley, it should still be cloudy around 0. But as I mentioned, mid-morning to around the noon hour, that's when we'll start to see the first of the rain, flipping over to a rain-snow mix in the afternoon on the way to a high of 3 degrees. Snow tonight in Churchill, and that will continue tomorrow in some strong and gusty northwest winds. Partly cloudy for the rest of the region. Thompson down to 14, sunny there tomorrow, and -10. In the northwest tonight, partly cloudy, as cold as -16 in Lynn Lake, but sunny there tomorrow and -12 in the southwest tonight. Cloudy now all the way down to -4, -6 degrees. And again, you'll see that rain and snow move into Brandon. Outright snowfall expected straight out of the chute for Dauphin and Swan River. Winnipeg in the southeast, increasing cloud tonight. We drop down to around -4. First, starting with the rain and then that rain-snow mix in the afternoon. Areas closer to the international border, you likely won't see that snow until tomorrow night. Fog overnight northwestern Ontario, and then tomorrow the rain and snow get to you in the afternoon. Our first weather photo was yesterday evening sunset near McGregor, Manitoba. That's just west of Portage la Prairie. That photo is from Susan, a lovely shot. And this is from Caleb, the rising supermoon over God's Lake Narrows last evening. It reached peak illumination at 7:19 this morning Central Time. Send us your photos to Winnipeg Weather at ctv.ca.
Thanks, Colleen. A Manitoba Remembrance Day project has gone national. The Poppy Blanket project is now on display in Ottawa.
It started in Winnipeg. I reached out to some local craft groups with the idea of making a poppy blanket. The response was just overwhelming. You know, I worked with Devi Sharma to really get it going, and there was so much excitement for it that we had people from all over Canada putting it together. In the end, there ended up over 8,000 poppies, and underneath it is actually over 2,000 dedicated ribbons to people's family members and to Manitoba's fallen soldiers from World War I.
The blanket now stretches some 85 feet. Sheila Lee Restall is pleased to see the blanket she helped start on display at the Canadian War Museum in Ottawa. She says as big as the blanket has become, it still continues to grow.
That is the hope. We have plans to do some more effort to make it bigger, to include more parts of Canada, that people who may not have known of it before, and see if we can make it longer than it is now.
The blanket was part of a Veterans Day week ceremony in Ottawa Tuesday, which included the unveiling of a new coin.
I thought they'd go only after me for the money. I never thought they were gonna destroy my credit score.
Coming up, a woman had a dispute with one of her bills, and now she's facing major problems with her credit score. We'll have her story and how you can avoid a similar situation just ahead. Your credit score is an important number because it determines if you can be approved for loans, credit cards, and other financial products. A good score can save you money over time, while a bad one can make borrowing more expensive or even impossible. CTV's Pat Foran explains.
A woman we'll call Gloria asked us not to identify her as she is embarrassed about her situation. The senior has mobility and eyesight issues, but the former bookkeeper says she's always been very careful paying her bills.
Have you always paid your bills on time?
Oh, before the due date.
Gloria says in February she got a credit card bill for $389 and believes she paid it. But her bank said it never received the funds and kept sending the same bill month after month and adding interest. Gloria was worried she would be paying the bill twice.
Why should I put that money in their pocket? For what? If you pay it, why do you have to pay again? I don't understand that.
After she didn't pay the bill for 8 months, her credit score dropped to the lowest level, her home insurance doubled, she was unable to co-sign her son's car loan, and she was denied a new credit card. Gloria says she didn't know disputing the charge could cause so many problems.
I thought they'd go only after me for the money. I never thought they were gonna destroy my credit score.
A good credit score can help you rent an apartment, get a loan, and qualify for lower interest rates. But late payments can lead to a lowered credit score, increased interest rates, higher late fees, difficulty getting new credit, and accounts could be closed or have reduced credit limits.
If you're behind on $100 a month payment, your credit score really takes a hit because they figure, hey, if you can't handle a $100 payment, we're certainly going to not loan you a larger amount of money.
Doug Hoyes, a licensed insolvency trustee, says in the event you feel there's a mistake on one of your bills, pay it first and try to settle it later.
If you're having a dispute on a bill, pay it, and that way your credit score isn't going to take a hit, and then fight over it later. If you win, you get your money back.
After CTV News contacted her bank, they determined Gloria had not paid the bill. Now she has, but it could take as long as 6 years before the unpaid bill doesn't show up on her credit score. Pat Foran, CTV News.
Check your pantry. A brand of Middle Eastern confectionery is being recalled over salmonella concerns. It applies to Sheikh El Kar plain helva, which was sold in 800-gram packages and has a best before date of January 28th, 2026. Health Canada says the product was sold right across the country, including here in Manitoba. The agency notes food contaminated with salmonella may not look or smell spoiled, but it can make you very sick. There have not been any reported illnesses. You're told to throw the product away or bring it back to the place you bought it. A new study suggests there's a link between long-term melatonin use and a higher risk of heart failure. But the authors caution more research is needed before drawing any definitive conclusions. In the study, which examined the health data of more than 130,000 adults, those who took melatonin for a year or longer had a 90% higher chance of heart failure within 5 years compared to those who didn't take melatonin. Melatonin users are also more than 3 times as likely to be hospitalized for heart failure and twice as likely to die from any cause. But the study had significant limitations. It does not show cause and effect. Researchers did not have information on dosage amounts, and it has not yet been peer-reviewed. The next time you're looking for medical advice, you'll have to try somewhere other than ChatGPT. For better or for worse, many Canadians turn to the internet for guidance on how to deal with health issues. And nowadays, that often means AI tools like ChatGPT. But parent company OpenAI recently updated its policy so the chatbot won't offer medical or legal advice. The rules now state ChatGPT cannot be used for tailored advice that requires a license. A study led by researchers at the University of Waterloo found the bot only got 31% of open-ended medical questions entirely correct.
Medical Watch is brought to you by Manukin Koster Denture Clinic.
Get ready for the time of your life when you can see a special live performance of Dirty Dancing.
Spotlight, sponsored by the Casinos of Winnipeg, presenting Absolute Britney, a tribute to Britney Spears.
Get ready to come on down. The Price is Right Live. Price is Right Live. I screwed that up. It's coming to Winnipeg's Glove Region Event Center.
The Price is Right Live is on its way.
I tried, folks. April 9th and 10th, the interactive stage show will give you the chance to play classic games from TV's longest-running game show. Contestants can win cash, appliances, a vacation, maybe even a brand new car, all while playing games like Plinko and spinning the big wheel. Tickets go on sale tomorrow through Ticketmaster. Well, get ready to have the time of your life. A modern-day classic is dancing its way back into Winnipeg for a fun fan experience.
Now I had the time of my life.
Dirty Dancing in Concert will make a stop at Burton Cummings Theatre on April 8th. It brings the beloved film to life with a live band and vocalists. Fans are encouraged to sing and dance along, of course. Tickets go on sale Friday through Ticketmaster. The Canadian Museum for Human Rights is rolling out the red carpet for our troops in advance of Remembrance Day. The museum is offering free admission for those who served and their families. Starting today and all the way through Remembrance Day, veterans and active service members can visit the CMHR with up to 4 family members free of charge. The free admission offer is available between the hours of 1 and 5 p.m. The CMHR says it will also be honoring the sacrifices of our service members by projecting the image of a large red poppy on the side of the museum. The best in floral fashion returns to the Leaf at Assiniboine Park this winter. Vancouver-based Fleur de Ville is back with another exhibit January 15th through 25th. The theme this year is wonder, as in an exploration of the natural wonder of the world. You can expect to see displays inspired by the lavender fields of France, Australia's Great Barrier Reef, and the Amazon rainforest. Each piece is curated by local artists. Tickets go on sale next Wednesday. Just head to the Leaf or visit AssiniboinePark.ca. Beat the Midweek Blues with the floor at 7. Shifting Gears is on at 8, followed by The Amazing Race and Georgie and Mandy's First Marriage, wrapping things up at 10. It's all right here tonight on CTV.
Do not open until 2013 or else.
A message from the past. An elementary school class finds letters written in the 90s. How they're trying to find the kids who wrote them.
Women's clothing provided by RW & Company. Salon services provided by S&T Spa Salon.
It's 0 in Winnipeg, just a few clouds at most. Light winds out of the north-northeast at 5 kilometers an hour. Still, we have to start talking about wind chill. It feels like -2 out there. As for the highest temperature today, it was 6 degrees much earlier in the day. -5 was our lowest. The normal high temperature for this time of year is 2. Increasing clouds tonight, clear to start, cloudy overnight. Then cue the rain, then the rain-snow mix in the afternoon, up to 3 degrees. By Friday, out of the way, but colder temperatures, -3 on Friday, with increasing sunshine as we get especially into the afternoon. The weekend, a mix of sun and clouds, staying below freezing and then warming up next week.
Thanks, Colleen. Well, as the old saying goes, if these walls could talk, the stories they would tell. Well, the walls at the 111-year-old Isaac Brock School have lots of stories to share, and thanks to the discovery at the school, some are being revealed.
Do not open until 2013 or else.
Grade 7 students at Isaac Brock School recently got an opportunity to explore the school's attic as part of their studies. And guess what? They found a bag full of letters written by grade 7 students more than a quarter of a century ago. The letters contained information such as their favorite bands and foods. And they also wrote down what they imagined they would be doing in 2013, which was the 100th anniversary of the school. Those kids, of course, are now adults, and the class is trying to get in contact with them.
We actually had one reach out earlier this week that wants to come in. They were so excited to be reached out to. But what we found is just that the internet can only get you so far, and with people's name changes and moving, it can be tricky.
That's why the school is hoping those former students will hear about these letters and reach out. So if any of the letter writers are watching right now and are interested in getting their letters back, all you have to do is call the school.
You're not in trouble either.
You didn't happen to go to Isaac Brock, did you?
I did not, no.
Because I'd be very interested to reach your letter, Colleen.
Likewise, Marilee.
I have to think of what I would have written, but I didn't write one. So
it would have been
pick up those letters for those of you that did it. Pretty cool. Have a good night.